Live from downtown Detroit, Local 4 News at noon starts now.
A giant in the civil rights movement has died. Today, Americans reflecting on the legacy of Reverend Jesse Jackson. Thanks for being here with us for Local 4 News at noon, and click on Detroit.com and Local 4 Plus, everyone. This news coming in this morning from the Rainbow Push Coalition that their founder, the Reverend Jesse Jackson, died peacefully, surrounded by family. He was born in 1941, Jackson gaining attention when he first started working for Martin Luther King Jr. Craig Melvin takes a look at the legacy he leaves behind.
Legendary civil rights leader, Reverend Jesse Jackson, dying at the age of 84.
I'm human. I am God's child.
After decades in the public eye, watching a country change as much as he did, Jackson, born in 1941 in Greenville, South Carolina, was a young protege of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., his life changing when King was gunned down in Memphis. Jackson, literally, there by his side.
It sounded like a stick of dynamite or a large firecracker. And when we turned, all we could see was police coming. Police were coming from the direction of the shot. Had been lined up along the streets.
It fell to Jesse Jackson and a small group of others to help keep the civil rights movement alive. The Baptist preacher known for his stirring speeches.
Repeat this. I am somebody.
Becoming a voice of the people.
Keep hope alive. Keep hope alive.
Jackson made Chicago his base of operation, starting what became the Rainbow Push Coalition, urging companies and politicians to improve opportunities for minorities. And he had his own political ambitions, launching a bid for president in 1984. The campaign marking the first time a national party had a major African-American contender. But the campaign was derailed when Jackson admitted using an anti-Semitic slur in a private conversation to describe New York City and Jews who live there.
However innocent and unintended, it was insensitive and wrong.
His apology at a New Hampshire synagogue helped him climb out of a deep political hole. He didn't win the nomination, but came closer after another run in 1988.
My right and my privilege to stand here before you has been won in my lifetime by the blood and the sweat of the innocent.
20 years later, a visibly emotional Jackson witnessing America elect its first black president, Barack Obama, a fellow Chicagoan. Over the years, Jackson used his considerable leverage as a statesman here at home to draw headlines around the world, joining the fight to end apartheid in South Africa, winning freedom for Americans held captive overseas, telling Today in 1999 he was always conscious of Dr. King's legacy.
The dream continues and the struggle continues, but every now and then we see flashes of hope. Inclusion leads to growth, and when there is growth, everybody wins.
In later years, Jackson facing multiple health issues, diagnosed with Parkinson's disease in 2017, hospitalized with COVID in 2021. But he remained involved in politics, leading Get Out the Vote efforts. And in 2024, he was honored at the Democratic National Convention. Applause for a civil rights icon who dedicated his life to keeping hope alive. Craig Melvin, NBC News.
And of course, as part of that 1988 run for president, many of us remember his surprising win in the Michigan caucuses that year. Of course, he went on to finish second in the nomination. Well, today, Governor Gretchen Whitmer is reflecting on this, putting out a statement calling Jackson a fierce advocate for justice, equality, and prosperity for all, saying Reverend Jackson had a special connection to Michigan and especially the city of Detroit. He visited often, standing with labor, working with local leaders, and inspiring the next generation of change makers. And from Lieutenant Governor Garland Gilchrist, saying, personally, I am grateful for Reverend Jackson's mentorship and example to me and so many others. He reinforced in me, speaking the truth is always the right thing to do in real time. As we mourn his loss and celebrate his incredible life, let us continue following in his footsteps and standing tall for a Michigan where everyone can realize their full potential for lifelong health, wealth, and opportunity. If you are watching us on clickondetroit.com and Local 4 Plus, you've probably been following the Dale Warner murder trial today. It has broken for lunch, but picking up after a long weekend. We were going to give you that live look, but as we say, they have just gone on break. When Dee Warner, a mother of 5, disappeared in 2021, she was found 3 years later in a fertilizer tank on her husband Dale's property. That's the crux of this case. He was then charged with her murder, and the trial could go until mid-March. When testimony resumes in a little while, we will have it streaming for you on Local 4 Plus. Also in court today, former U of M football coach Sharon Moore. He has a hearing this afternoon at the Washtenaw County Courthouse. His attorneys are asking to dismiss the charges, arguing the arrest warrant was based on false and misleading statements. Moore faces a list of charges, including home invasion, stalking, along with breaking and entering. The outcome of today's hearing could determine the next steps in this case. Closing arguments expected today in a trial of radioactive waste and the decision if it can be dumped in Van Buren Township. Communities including Canton, Van Buren, Belleville, and Romulus won a court ruling last August to stop shipments to Wayne Disposal. That's a landfill there. A judge will decide if those shipments can resume. Meta CEO Mark Zuckerberg scheduled to testify tomorrow in a landmark social media trial. A mom and her daughter accuse YouTube and Meta of harming users' mental health because of its addictive design. The now 20-year-old plaintiff claims Instagram and YouTube purposely designed features on their platforms to addict young users. Zuckerberg has testified before about the harmful effects of social media, but that was 2 years ago in front of the Senate. This time, he'll need to convince a jury. Snapchat and TikTok were also in this lawsuit originally, but they settled before the trial began. Turning now to the Winter Olympics, here's your medal count up to date. Norway continuing to lead the way with 30 medals there in the home country, Italy, with 24 total medals. Team USA closing the gap a little on Italy, now at 20 medals, including a handful of golds there. A bit of irony at the Winter Olympics where some events have been delayed because of wintry weather. More than 8 inches of snow has fallen in Livigno in the past day, more expected. The fresh blanket of powder there, along with some high winds, have forced officials to delay several events, which includes the women's and men's freestyle skiing aerials and the qualifying runs for those. The women's snowboard slope style event also getting the pause button. Quite ironic as we break now. Let's get a check of our weather over here. No 8 inches of snow headed our way as we say hello to Christina Burkhart this afternoon.
Right, yeah, instead we're talking about a little bit of lingering fog out there. A live look in Romulus at the airport showcasing that visibility is reduced to about 3-4 miles at the moment. And we're seeing that be the case across a good portion of southeast Michigan. Warm temperatures though, check that out. Yeah, 47 degrees with a lighter breeze out there. And we're going to see these temperatures only go up by a couple more degrees into the afternoon. But hey, we'll take it well above normal for this time of year. Nice and dry out there at the moment as far as any snow or rain is concerned. Again, we're still stuck with a little bit of some fog, maybe a little mist here and there. That'll continue to diminish. We've seen that already happening over the last hour, especially as temperatures again warm up by a couple of degrees or so. We are looking at dry conditions for the afternoon, staying mild right on into your evening by 6 o'clock. Temperatures starting to dip back to those lower 40s. And then as we head overnight tonight, we only fall to those middle upper 30s. So it'll be warm, but we also bring in some rain showers. We'll time out that rain, talk about how long it lasts coming up.